I wake up in my shoebox room at University of St. Andrews, and the first thing that crawls into my nose is the perfume of 1960s damp carpet that has never, ever dried. It smells like someone wrung out a sheep and left the wool in a bucket for 300 years. The wool by my head is soft, not in a cozy way, but in the way a corpse goes soft when nobody finds it. I press my finger and the plaster sighs and keeps the fingerprint, like it is taking evidence for a future trial. This is how I learn that buildings can rot while still standing, and nobody will bother to tell you that rot is contagious until your own lungs start to taste of mildew. I paid extra for heritage accommodation. Heritage, they said, means character. Character, I now know, means black spores that look like tiny solar systems colonizing the rim of every window. I tried to wipe them away with the sleeve of my only nice hoodie. The sleeve came back greenish-gray and never recovered. That was the day I understood that the university is not charging you for shelter, it is charging you for the privilege of becoming a petri dish. If you die here, they will call it an unfortunate statistic, and the mold will keep your deposit. I shuffle to the shared kitchen. The fridge hums in the key of existential dread. Inside, someone's kale has liquefied into a substance that moves like lava lamp goo. The smell punches me behind the eyes. I close the door, but the image stays. Little Ziploc bags of forgotten food sliding into each other like slow breakup texts. There are no labels, because labels require hope that anyone will ever eat again. I want toast, but the toaster has been recalled for setting fire to a boy's coursework last term. They never replaced it. They simply taped a polite notice that reads risk assessed. I eat dry crackers and pretend the crunch is applause. I have a 9 a.m. lecture on medieval poetry. The lecturer arrives 10 minutes late wearing a gown that looks stolen from a vampire film. He opens his mouth and out floats the word indeed, repeated like a stuck vinyl. He says indeed to hide that he has not read our essays. Indeed is the academic version of I am fine. He tells us chivalry is dead while standing under a leaking ceiling that drips onto the PowerPoint and makes the saints look as though they are crying. I write down every drip. By the end the page is soggy and the ink has bled into little funeral veils. I raise my hand to ask why the library only stocks 3 copies of the set text for 400 students. He smiles the way a cat smiles at a bird with a broken wing and says, resourcefulness is part of the curriculum. Translation, suffer quietly, peasant. After class I walk to the library. The wind is a knife that has been sharpened on North Sea salt. My umbrella turns inside out like a startled bat and dies. Students pass me wearing signet rings the size of coat buttons. They look through me as though I am a window. I try to catch someone's eye to share the joke of our communal misery, but their gaze slides away like oil on glass. I imagine their internal monologue. Can tea stop? Daddy's hedge fund is waiting. I am wearing last season's Canada Goose dupe from a Facebook marketplace seller who ghosted me after payment. The stuffing leaks out in clumps. Small white feathers stick to the wet pavement like apologies nobody accepted. Inside the library, it is warm only if you stand exactly in the stairwell where the radiator still clings to life. Every seat is occupied by a laptop playing silent lecture recordings and a reusable cup that has become a permanent placeholder for a personality. I find a square of carpet next to the fire exit and sit cross-legged. My knees touch the wall feels like freezer burn. I open my textbook and a used face mask falls out like a bookmark from a more frightened time. I read about courtly love while my phone battery drops from 19% to dead in 4 minutes. There are no plugs.
Within cord distance because the building was wired when Queen Victoria was still ghosting her ministers. I breathe through my mouth so I do not have to smell the boy next to me who reeks of yesterday's tuna and broken dreams. Lunchtime, the Student Union Cafe serves something they call Moroccan stew, but it is brown water with 3 chickens.
The businesses near the University of St. Andrews are a study in disappointment. A place where high hopes meet low standards, where promises crumble faster than stale bread, and where service is often just a word on a sign. Let's start with the shops. Businesses here have a habit of making simple transactions feel like a battle. The University of St. Andrews shop, for example, seems allergic to keeping its word. Orders vanish into thin air, refunds take months and opening hours, more like gentle suggestions. One visitor paid for whiskey, only to be told weeks later that the shop wanted more money, because apparently wait is a surprise. Another waited over a year for lights that never arrived. If you want university merchandise, prepare for disappointment. Hats, missing, polos, nowhere, just an overpriced sea of sweatshirts and golf hats sponsored by brands no one cares about. Then there's Bonkers Gift Shop, a name that frankly undersells the chaos. This place treats cash like contraband. Walk in with actual money, and you'll be met with the kind of hostility usually reserved for tax inspectors. One visitor, a support worker, brought a client who didn't have a bank card, only to be turned away. Another child excited to spend pocket money was refused until a parent stepped in. The staff's attitude, a masterclass in how not to welcome customers. They argue with medical exemptions, mock patrons, and generally act like they're doing you a favor by letting you browse. Hotels in the area. The Old Course Hotel should come with a warning label. Guests who book rooms with views get rooftop vistas of peeling paint and abandoned tools instead. The restaurant, a culinary disaster. Monkfish korma that's just spicy soup, steaks tougher than golf course turf, and service so slow you'll wonder if the staff are on a tea break permanently. The spa, more like a relic from the 1970s, complete with a pool that looks like it belongs in a horror film. Breakfast is a tragedy. Frozen croissants, sausages that taste like regret, and berries floating in what can only be described as sad water. Hungry, avoid Jahangir Tandoor unless you enjoy being treated like an inconvenience. The staff here have perfected the art of rudeness. One group was forced to order extra food they didn't want, while another found hair in their biryani. The korma is just chicken swimming in soup, and the naan, greasy, sweet, and utterly wrong. The noise level. Imagine a factory canteen during a riot. For coffee, taste is a gamble. Some days the staff are friendly. Other days they'll scold you for bringing a dog, despite advertising themselves as dog-friendly. The coffee, sometimes drinkable, sometimes molten lava, and if you need a bathroom, tough luck. The University Sports Centre is a joke. 2 benches for an entire university. 9 treadmills for thousands of students. The place is so overcrowded, waiting for equipment feels like queuing for bread in Soviet Russia. Finally, the Adamson, where pretension meets poor execution. Tiny portions, inflated prices, and steak so tough it could double as shoe leather. The staff, either indifferent or outright hostile. One diner's shrimp linguine had exactly 3 shrimp. 3, for the price of a small fortune. So what's the verdict? Businesses near the University of St Andrews are a minefield of broken promises, bad service, and baffling decisions. Travellers, be warned, lower your expectations, bring patience, and maybe pack a lunch.
I was looking into crimes near University of St Andrews, and what I found made me feel so heavy inside, like my chest got filled with wet sand. The shops here, they smile at you with their bright windows, but some of them are like wolves wearing human faces, you know. The convenience stores near University of St Andrews, they ray like those fairy tale witches with candy houses. These shops, they put fake Cadbury bars right next to the real ones, and when tourists like you come for your 2-week stay, you think you ray getting a deal on souvenir chocolates. But really, you ray buying counterfeit stuff wrapped in almost right packaging. I bet those tourists went back to their BBS feeling proud of their authentic Scottish treats, only to bite into waxy chocolate that tastes like disappointment. The shop owners probably counted their money while those visitors packed their suitcases, never knowing they'd been tricked. The golf shops around University of St Andrews, they ray like those playground bullies who promise to share their toys but never do. This one man, he set up in actual storefronts near the Old Course, telling golfers he could get them discount Apple Watches and cheap tea times. He took their money right there in the shop, gave them receipts and everything. Those golfers probably called their friends back home bragging about the deal they got, planning their fancy golf week. Then nothing arrived. No watches, no tea times, just empty promises. They probably stood there in their rented golf shoes, staring at their phones, wondering why confirmation emails never came. The man probably moved to another shop front the next week, finding new golfers to trick. Even the QR codes on the street signs here, they ray like poisoned apples from Snow White. Someone stuck these innocent-looking codes all over town, and when tourists scan them thinking they ray getting restaurant menus or attraction info, they get sent to websites that steal their bank details. I imagine some student from University of St Andrews walking past, phone in hand.